All right. Well, look, that was a disappointing game. Give Minnesota credit. It was they took advantage of it. It was sloppy both ways in the first half, and that's what happens. If you have a chance, especially on the road, to try to get a lead and you don't take advantage of it. I mean, look, we said before the game, they got three very talented players over there, and then they hit shots down the stretch, and that's not what bothers me, and that's not what's frustrating, because that's going to happen in an NBA season with players with that type of talent. But the first half and three quarters leading up to that, we just we didn't do anything to impose our will on the game. We did offensive rebound. We rebounded the ball pretty well tonight, but 2 transition points that's just us not being committed to playing how we want to play. So give Minnesota a ton of credit. They fought hard and they deserve to win that game. And it's going to be a long flight home after that one. A lot to think about and reevaluate after watching the game over.
Start here with Brian Hill.
You stressed the rebounding pregame.
Yeah.
Were you pleased with that side of things?
I was pleased with it. We did a much better job of consistently being aggressive on both ends of the court. However, it felt like every time we went to our smaller, more spacing offensive group, we gave up big offensive rebounds, like in crucial parts of the game. So it was definitely better tonight, but not to the level it needs to be at.
Is there a difference first half to second half in the rebounding, did you think?
No, I thought it was pretty consistent throughout. There was probably a little slippage down, and some of it I get in today's NBA. There's so many long 3-point shots. Even when you have a good box out, it just the ball is bouncing all over the court. But overall, I was pretty. I was okay with our effort on the glass tonight.
What did you think maybe changed in them for us? Was it just a matter of them hitting some shots, you think?
Well, at some point, some team was. Neither team did it the first 3 quarters. I thought to start the third, we did a poor job. We let Cat get going. Like we clear game plan. Don't go under. He's going to pick and pop and hit threes. We gapped it. He hit a 3. Then we overplayed. He back cut us, and now the best player on their team is feeling pretty good about it. And the crowd's getting into it. So, but at some point, somebody's going to start hitting shots. Buddy hit a couple for us. But at the end, they on their home court, they made more plays than we did down the stretch.
Go ahead, Rob.
All right, we'll start with James Ham.
Hey, Luke. First half, a lot of soft turnovers, a lot of soft defensive plays. I know shots weren't falling, but just where do you go from here with your team when they came out and played like that in the first half?
Well, the turnovers is what really bothered me, James, in the first half, because I agree. They weren't up into us. I mean, Pat Beverly did his thing. He disrupted what we were trying to do, but we knew that going in. But we had, we finished the game with 20 turnovers. The first half, however many we had at the half, 13 or something, all from our starting 5. All 13 turnovers. Like, we have a job to do here, and we have to take care of the ball. We understand it. We know that this team forces turnovers. They force turnovers. That's what they do. Be strong and aggressive, but they also foul a lot. So if you're strong, you get to the free throw line. And they won that battle tonight. I mean, we got to the line a good amount, but 20 turnovers on the road is tough to overcome.
All right, good. Sean Cunningham.
Yeah, Luke, does sometimes when you guys struggle to shoot the ball, do you see it having an effect on the defensive end as well?
Yeah, it does for sure. Most teams, it does. The elite teams have gotten past that, but in this league, when you're trying to get to that level, when you're missing shots, it definitely affects the defense. But I mean, what they score in the first half, 44 points in the first half. So it's the defense was fine. For a lot of the game, it was where we struggled. We went small with our more spacing offensive group. We struggled to rebound. We went big with our rebounding group. We rebounded, but didn't make shots or take advantage of our stops. So, it's a balance that we got to figure out. We got to be more consistent and be able to play both styles.
All right, Tony Harvey.
Yeah, Coach Walton, Anthony Edwards, he only had 10 points in those first 3 quarters, and he just exploded in the fourth quarter. Just want to, can you just talk about what he was doing, how he was affecting that fourth quarter going up against the Kings?
Yeah, well, to me, it started with a couple letdowns by us defensively. We were trying to force him right. He gets left, and then when he does get by us, our low man doesn't come over and rotate. So now he's got a couple of easy ones. And guess what happens when a really talented player gets a couple easy looks? He then starts hitting difficult shots. The threes he hit were step back off the dribble with hands in his face threes. So, those are ones he wasn't making earlier, but he didn't have the easy looks early either. So we have to end up firing and sending 2 on him because now a really talented player is going. And like I said, give them credit. They've made plays down the stretch. We have to be better leading up to that. The end of the game that's going to happen. One way it'll be us some nights, the other teams other nights. Up to that point, we have to be much better.
Jason Anderson.
Luke, Davion was pretty effective when he was out there. He was like plus 10 for the game. And I just wondered, was there some thought over those last 8-9 minutes, how you might be able to get him in there?
Yeah, there's always thoughts. I mean, we're trying to win ball games. Like I said, though, we go small. We're not rebounding the basketball. That's the challenge we've had since day one. We will play small, and that's our best up-tempo group as we can if we can rebound the ball. So, I wish I could play all of them out there. That'd be great, but only 5 can play on it at a time. And Buddy's out there. Buddy's the one guy making threes out there. De'Aaron was having a pretty good game. Harrison's going to close. Ty is he's pretty good himself. So a couple of times we went with Mezzi to help rebound and be able to fire and rotate out of it. And other times we went with Ty because we know he's capable of making big plays. So Davion's always on our mind. We know how capable he is. But we went with the other guys tonight down the stretch.
All right, Brendan Nunez.
Hey, Luke, Harrison is really slowed down after a hot start. Do you feel like you need more aggression out of him recently, or is it kind of just taking what the defense has given him? What have you thought about Harrison these last couple games?
Yeah, I mean, Harrison's our rock. He's steady for us. I have to do a better job of creating more opportunities for him because we need him shooting. We need him shooting. We need more attempts. We need him more involved in what we're doing. But he's our rock. So I will continue to encourage him to take any open look he gets, and then I'll do a better job of calling and creating actions for him.
Matt George.
Hey, Luke, there was a lot of optimism and hope for this 4-game road trip. So to go home 1-3, I know you said it's difficult to win against any team on a nightly basis in the NBA, but do you feel or have you recognized or is there any difference in approach that you've noticed to teams like you faced on this road trip versus teams like Utah earlier in the season that even though you lost, you had a lot of success with and seemed to play differently against?
Yeah, no, I thought, the OKC game, we built up an 18-point lead. Obviously, we blew that, but we were ready to play. The Detroit game, we came out, we jumped on them early and played well. San Antonio, that was probably the worst game we played of the year. They jumped us pretty good. And I fully expected us to come out tonight and be the same team we've been all year. And, I felt like, I don't know if it was because the game was it was nasty on both sides and we let that affect us. And we thought like at some point we would just turn it on. I don't know what the difference was, but, I thought, I've come to expect us to be at a higher level with how we compete. And we didn't really get there much tonight to that level of compete that this group is used to.
All right, we'll end back with Jason Anderson.
Luke, I remember a while ago you saying, you know, that you're going to have little fires to put out. You'll fix one thing and then something else will need to be fixed. There has been that effort on the boards, obviously, these last couple games, and tonight, you know, those numbers were pretty good, but then these other, do you feel like these other fires are just popping up anytime you put one out?
Well, that's kind of to be expected. You hope that it's not that drastic. But, you know, part of why we are playing, you know, different lineups early is so we can have more space and more speed and more shooting, because that's how we want to play. So, if, you know, we naturally start going bigger, that's naturally going to slow us down a little bit, a little less space. Guys getting familiar with you know, executing together, things like that. So it's always a give and take, and we're constantly just trying to push all of it forward. But the rebounding got to the point where, like, it became top priority. Even if we have to sacrifice offense and other aspects of the game, we have to become a better rebounding team. So that's kind of where we're at now. We got other stuff to clean up for sure.